everyone. My name is Laura Fu, and I'm joined by Sarita Das and Pablo Goldstein. And we are representing Team Morals tonight, which stands for Morality, Observation, and Research in American Law and Society. So our agenda tonight includes the motivation for our research, issues and values and how those are related to our research questions, how we're collecting data, as well as team dynamics. So 239 years ago, Thomas Jefferson wrote in the Declaration of Independence, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." 14 years later, when the U.S. ratified the Constitution, we embedded many of these rights and values into our founding document, including liberty in the First Amendment, justice in the Fourth, Fifth, and Sixth Amendments, and so on. And these ideals continue to remain at the heart of our political rhetoric throughout history until today. In 2012, at the State of the Union address, speaking about economic opportunity, President Barack Obama said that what's at stake aren't democratic values or Republican values, but American values. And speaking at a campaign event in Iowa about multiculturalism in America, presidential candidate Jeb Bush said that the power of America is a set of shared values with a very diverse population embracing it. So if we as Americans theoretically hold a set of shared values stemming from over 2 centuries ago, why are we so polarized? Why do American citizens and elected officials continue to gravitate away from each other towards opposite ends of the political spectrum? On the screen here is a chart that graphs political polarization over time in Congress. So the higher the Y value, the more often the Congress people that year voted along party lines. And you can see that political polarization was at an all-time low in World War II, but has steadily increased until today, when both houses have reached an all-time high. And this is not just a problem that our elected officials face. Pew Research Center found that over the last 20 years, American citizens themselves have also become more polarized. Take a look. So this graph shows how throughout this time, it's gotten a lot more polarized until today, so there's not very much overlap now. So why are we so polarized? What has caused this increase in polarization? And that's what our research is all about. And we traced one cause of American political polarization back to morality policies. Now, what are morality policies? These are policies characterized by a conflict of basic values, a difficulty to compromise, and technical simplicity. And when we say technical simplicity, we mean that these are policies that individuals use gut feelings to base their judgments on because they interpret their stances on these issues to be symbolic of their broader moral and political stances. And for the purposes of our research, we had to narrow down the number of morality policies we will be using. So we had 2 criteria for selection. 1, the issue had to be prominent in national political conversation, and 2, it had to generate significant constitutional controversy. So we looked at relevant morality policy literature, polls from Pew Research Center and Gallup, which both track data on hot-button issues, as well as landmark Supreme Court cases. And from our research, we identified 4 issues to use: abortion, capital punishment, gun control, and same-sex marriage. And because Americans hold such diverse views on these issues, our research has to address why. Why are these such diverse topics, divisive topics? It connects back to the concept of shared values and how Americans are using these values to interpret these morality policies. So first, let's explain what values are and why they're central to our project. So values are considered to be desirable end states of existence and ideals that guide individuals' choices and attitudes. And they're important to our project because they're critical to moral evaluation and they provide a grounding for political ideologies. Next, for the sake of standardization and usable data, we had to figure out a set of values to use in our research. So our criteria for our selection include they have to be fundamental to American politics and they also have to be enduring. So we looked at founding documents, the Declaration of Independence, and the Constitution, important political speeches throughout our history, as well as landmark Supreme Court cases. And from this research, we identified our 7 values: liberty, equality, justice, security, happiness, self-determination, and privacy. And as we dug deeper into our literature review, we found that there was not much literature on standardized definitions of these values. Makes sense. Thomas Jefferson, in that first quote, only said that we are entitled to liberty, but didn't exactly define that liberty. And so we thought maybe it's the definitions that are causing this strife. Maybe I define liberty differently from how Sudipta and Pablo define liberty, and that's why we have different views on these issues. And Abraham Lincoln thought the same thing. In a speech in 1864, he said, "We all declare for liberty, but when using the same word, we do not all mean the same thing." And now I'm going to turn it over to Sudipta to explain the connection to our research questions and how we're collecting data.
Thank you, Laura. So Laura has just covered our motivations and the issues and values section. Now I'm going to cover our 4 research questions for the survey portion of our data collection. So we're investigating the values people invoke when thinking about these issues. For example, do people invoke the value of security when thinking about the issue of gun control? To do this, we needed to understand the relationship between values and polarization on these issues. Thus, we're examining the way we rank and define our values. Now we're moving on to our 4 research questions. Research question 1 is, to what extent do individuals' ranking of values explain their stances on the 4 issues? And research question 2 is, to what extent do individuals' definitions of values explain their stances on the 4 issues? So from these 2 research questions, we're trying to understand why, even though we share the same values, we're still polarized on these issues. Perhaps it has something to do with how we individually rank and define these issues. Research questions 3 and 4 ask, to what degree are demographics and personality type correlated with how an individual ranks, orders, and defines values? So we're curious whether these additional factors of demographics and personality have any relation to our ranking and defining of these values. So moving on to data collection, we will be surveying a nationwide representative sample of people through Qualtrics Online. The sample must be above 18 years old and also US citizens. We'll also be gathering information on our respondents' demographics and personality, and focus groups will be used to inform our survey construction. Speaking about our survey has 2 sections regarding the chosen issues and the selected values. There we delve deeper and study how participants rank, order, and define these specific values. The first portion of our survey deals with the issues. We're trying to understand where respondents stand on each issue that we've chosen. The questions we ask in this section allows respondents to state their moral and political stances on the selected issues, and after stating their stances, they'll specify just how strong or not strong their stances are. The second portion, we deal with values, specifically ranking and defining. In the ranking of the values section, we're attempting to understand how an individual's ranking of these values affects their stances on these issues. We'll ask them to select the values they consider for each issue, and then rank the values that they've chosen. For example, they'll be shown the issue of gun control, and then will be asked to select values from the set. They could choose the values of liberty and security, but then rank security above liberty. There will be 4 issue sections like this for respondents to rank values on, and there will be 1 additional section where they will rank all of the values we've given them in general, and not within the context of an issue. The second value section of our survey deals with definitions. Here we're going 1 step further by examining why people rank values the way they do, by looking at their definitions. Now, we're not looking for any formal type of dictionary definitions. Instead, we're looking for substantive definitions, or what each of these value terms mean practically to each participant. We've compiled our definitions for each value from several dictionaries and also relevant sources from philosophical literature, such as works from Mills and Kant. We'll have a set of definitions for them, and they can choose which one they believe applies to that value. Then they'll be asked to decide how accurate or not accurate each definition we've given them is. For additional information to our survey, we've added a demographics section and a personality section in order to discover any correlations in the data between these items and value behavior or moral and political stances. For demographics, we'll be looking at items such as ethnicity, religiosity, education, and income. For personality, we'll be using an abbreviated version of the Big 5 personality questionnaire. Whereas demographics will help us identify more group-oriented factors, the personality test will help us identify more individualized and character-oriented factors of the survey population. Now, as a team, we're aware that bias is a problem when conducting human research, and we're being scrupulous about how to control for it. It appears here in our survey, and to control for any priming effects, we'll have the 4 issues randomly ordered for each participant, and for value ranking, half of the participants will do the general ranking of values first, and the other half of the participants will do this general ranking of values last. Bias will appear again in our focus groups, where Pablo will discuss how we control for it there. Now to Pablo for some information on our focus groups.
Thank you very much, Linda. So for the focus groups, we believe that after conducting research and writing our ongoing literature review and methodology, we believe that through focus groups, we will be able to finalize our list of values and evaluate the importance of the issues selected. So for the focus groups, we have undergone the entire hiring process, and we have received our approval on October 27th. We will actually start conducting the focus groups this Friday, November 20th. And so many people have already signed up that we have already been able to reach our minimum yield of 50 participants. So you might ask yourself, what do our focus groups consist of? Each focus group will have a length of approximately 90 minutes, and there will be 7 to 12 participants in each focus group. 2 of us will act as moderators, and we will guide the discussion following a question that has previously been approved by IRB, while another member of the team will act as a scribe and will be recording the answers and the reactions participants might have to any of the questions. In addition, the focus groups will be video recorded, and an accurate transcript of the focus groups will allow us to have a more comprehensive and thorough analysis of the results. Each participant will be compensated in the amount of $10, and they will be provided light food and refreshments for participating in our focus group. And the questionnaire has been designed in a way that it enhances interaction among the participants, and it allows them to fully develop their ideas. So as Vita previously mentioned, we're aware that bias does exist, and for the focus groups, we are using a convenient sample with these students because it's the most visual option that we have available for us. Also, the focus groups will be conducted in a time period of 2 to 4 weeks, and we're aware that participants may be influenced by what is currently going on in the news. So in order to counteract that, we are all as a team going to be following the media outlets, the major media outlets in the news, in order to be able to provide context when we're analyzing the results of the focus groups. Well, this concludes the research component of our presentation. We will now move towards the team dynamics aspect. And Team MORALS is composed by nine members. We all have different majors ranging from government and politics, English, international business, engineering, statistics, biology, and accounting. And we also have very different backgrounds, which makes us a very diverse team. And as a result, we all have different approaches and different perspectives that we're able to bring into the project. And in these 2 years, we established a few processes that have enabled us to be successful, which might be helpful for some of the younger journalism teams. We realized that in order to complete the literature review and methodology, it has been very useful to have internal deadlines, but also to create different subgroups that deal with the different components of each paper. So for example, for the literature review, we had 3 different subgroups, one focusing on the polarization in American society, another one focusing on trying to find those common set of values, and another one trying to find those divisive issues that we could then try to apply the values to. In these years, we also face a few challenges, and as there's 9 of us and we all have different classes, it's been hard to coordinate the different times, and that's something we struggle with in every semester. But if you're lucky, so this semester we're meeting at 8 p.m. Last semester we met at 8 a.m. But if you're lucky, you can find a mentor like Dr. Dwyer, who will be willing to meet with you at 8 a.m. and will also bring you bagels and breakfast to meetings. So thank you for that. Also, we had to acquire the funds in order to complete the project, and we also did a crowdfunding campaign through LaunchGMD. Our initial goal was to raise $4,000, but we were able to surpass that goal and raise $4,500. So with that money and money from Jason, we will be able to fund the remaining of our project. In the remaining year and a half, we plan on finishing the focus groups, and with the results we get from the focus groups, we will make the necessary adjustments to the survey that we have already developed. Once those adjustments are made, we will start distributing the surveys in order to start gathering data. We will also apply for any potential conferences we might attend in order to present our findings. And once we are able to gather all the data, we will start analyzing it, and we will make the necessary adjustments to our ongoing literature review methodology in order to prepare for the thesis conference in spring of 2017. So we want to thank the Jensen faculty and staff, Dr. Dwyer, for guiding us and helping us through this process. We want to help our generous LaunchGMD donors, and we want to thank you for being here tonight. We're excited, and now we'll open the floor for any questions you may have.